VoyMonk video voiceover number 35. And you heard that correctly. Up until this point, I have not done any numbers when I do these video voiceovers. And today I figured, I think I want to do that. And so here we are. And in this particular, well, I guess I should be more specific why I'm doing the numbers now. Up until this point, I thought, well, it could be better if I just simply did a title when I upload these and, of course, do the editing and eventually publish. But with that, I thought numbering them would also be beneficial, which is why I think other forms of content, probably specifically television, that kind of thing, besides just having a title, they also have a number. So I don't know if I'll break it off in seasons. I think if I do that, then obviously once I've reached, I think maybe a year end, maybe I'll do it that way. But as for now, going forward, I'll do the numbering as far as the video voiceovers. And I think it's mostly for myself as much as it is, I think, just for transparency. Recently, I found out that the video voice vlogs that I've been doing, I was kind of off by the numbers that I had done. So it's a secret. I'm actually one under in the chronological or the numbers as far as the voiceovers. But anywho, and part of the reason I also want to do numbers is because even though I usually title these voiceovers just like with the vlogs, the thing is that I don't always necessarily know what I'm going to title it, because I like for these to be fluid and organic and natural as I'm doing them. And so it's not that I'll never have a specific title in mind when I start, but I don't want to be chained to that formula specifically. So numbering it just kind of helps it out. So there's the other reason why I'll be doing the numbers as far as at the beginning of the voiceovers that I do, just to keep it in perspective. And this particular voiceover, however, I do have an idea. I specifically have the idea that I want as far as what I want this to be about, which is things I do not ever want to do. My reason for doing this is going to be because I think typically when it comes to when people approach this subject, it's usually with what are some things that I always have wanted to do, or they'll have a bucket list or something like that. And so I kind of wanted to tackle this in a little bit of a different way. Things I do not ever want to do. Because I think what you don't do, and I think what you say no to, is, I think, just as important as what you want to do or what you eventually do. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think it's possible that one might have a little bit more control over one than the other, which I think control in and of itself can sometimes be a unobtainable illusion overall. I think sometimes control can drive some people a little bit crazy and mad, mostly because I think when you set yourself up to building towards something and then the goal is not reached, it's difficult. It's hard because each goal that you set for a lot of different reasons can mean a lot of different things. And I think sometimes each time that you set those goals, like resetting a watch, it's not quite as, I'm trying to think of the word, it's not quite as dry, it's not quite as objective as all that. Usually when you set goals, you put your focus, you put your energy, you put your love towards getting it done. And when it doesn't happen, I mean, I think a lot of people say, well, you learn from your failures in order to gain your successes. And I don't necessarily know about that. But anyways, as I said, the things that I do not ever want to do. This may be pretty random, and I don't have a list in front of me, but here's goes. I do not ever want to kill anybody. And I was like, where are you talking? Where does that come from? Yeah, I don't ever want to have killed anybody or ever had that be something that I ever have to contend with. I never want to be a rock star, which seems like a totally opposite from the first one. I never want to be in a fight. I never want to experience drama. I know that seems weird, but some people find it entertaining. I don't. I don't find drama particularly entertaining, nor do I find it fun. I really do not like watching the destruction of other people in any way, form, or fashion. I think there's some people that say that they like to see people achieve things and to create goals in life and that kind of thing, but in my experience, a lot of times it's actually quite the opposite. I think it's kind of one of those things where sometimes people that yell and scream and profess the most are oftentimes the people that are the very opposite, at least in my experience. So I never want to be into a fight. I never want to have drama. I never want to be someone who is fake or phony or does things just to convince people or tell people to do things that they don't want to do. I never want to have a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. I never want to be a famous actor or do anything in terms of drama or music. I don't want to be famous for any of those things. I don't want to, I don't want to be famous for anything and everything. So off the top of my head, those are the things that I find that are most important. I don't ever want to live in a hot climate. I don't like warmer weather. For me, if it gets above 80 degrees in any consistent pattern, I don't like it. I do not want a pet. I know, and there's a lot of people that I don't want a dog. I do not want a cat. I do not want an animal in any capacity. So there you go. I do not want to, I do not ever want to cheat. I do not ever want to wander my eyes when I'm with someone that I love or care about in any capacity. To me, I think the more you give, the more you do, the more you invest in another person, I think the better it is, at least for me, overall. So there you go. Those are the things I do not ever want to do. Now, that's probably just some generals. I also do not want to hurt anybody either. I said, do not want to kill anybody. I do not want to hurt anybody. I do not want to be in a situation where I make someone feel bad or degrade someone else. I never want to do that. I never want to explicitly go out of my way to offend people. I understand sometimes in life that'll happen, and that's just the way it is. I never want to apologize for something that I didn't do or things that I don't understand why I'm apologizing. I think sometimes people can apologize in spite of actually learning from anything that they may have done wrong, which I think usually is the reason for the apology anyways. I know some people disagree with that premise, that sometimes it's better to live in peace rather than to hold on to a principle or whatever, but I think I might just be the opposite. I never want to live in a place that's full of excitement and action, or a spot where everybody and anybody wants to be to party hardy. I'm not that kind of a person. I'm an introvert. I like my relationships when and if I do have them on a personable level. And that to me is the most important thing. Having relationships that are an investment, that is just as much a part of bringing not necessarily something to the table, although for want of a better way of framing that, I guess. But it should be about what you value, what you enjoy about another person, and bringing your best for yourself and to them, and vice versa. The relationships are definitely a reciprocal. They shouldn't be necessarily about expectations, but I think there's definitely a natural progression when it comes to relationships from what they're about to where they're going to go. So those are the things that are important to me. As far as everything else that I do not want to do, I do not ever want to eat an onion. Although I think haphazardly and without knowing it, I've definitely eaten onions. But I hate onions. I don't like onions. I don't want them in anything that I've eaten. And it's not a particular flavoring that I enjoy. I think, let's see, I never want to, I never want to cheat. I never want to hurt people's feelings. I never want to treat anyone poorly or without care in general. Let's see. I think that might be about it. There's a lot of things that I do not want. I do not necessarily want to travel everywhere. I do not want to go to Japan. It's a beautiful country, and it has lots of lovely things in it, but I do not want to go to Japan. It's a great place, but I don't really like a lot of the cuisines in that part of the world. So that's just not something that I'm into. I definitely don't want to go anywhere, again, that's hot. Anything that can get above 80 degrees on a generally average or semi-basic range, not something that I'm into. Trying to think. I definitely don't want to be around celebrities or famous people or super rich people either. I have no interest in those types of things. I don't want to be famous for any of those things either. I don't ever want to be on the news for doing something one way or another, whether it's good or bad. I think that I think that being one's own person is more important than anything else. I don't ever want to be hip. I don't ever want to be a part of the cool kids club. I definitely am not interested in anyone teaching me anything as far as a life coach or something like that. I'm not interested in buying any crypto ever or selling any crypto ever. I'm not interested in, let's see, I think I might have, I'm coming up with things because, again, this isn't scripted, so, but this is what I definitely wanted to talk about in this video voiceover. I also don't want to get into the political arena. I don't, mostly because, not necessarily that there's anything good or bad about that, but there's a lot of people that do political things and talk about political stuff. And I don't think it necessarily has to be like government in terms of politics. And what I mean by that is wrestling, for example, could be about politics. You know, who you like, who you don't like. I think movies and entertainment can be about politics, although I think it can generally circle around the same areas of politics when it comes to like government and who you voted for and things like that. But I think there's other things as well, meaning as far as who, what, where, what persons like about something somewhere, whether it be professionally or personally. I think, for example, The Rock seems to be someone who is very popular. But on the flip side of that, there's also some people that are kind of, I don't know, they seem to be a little bit more critical of him now more than they used to be. And I don't think that that's necessarily because he's changed. I just think that some people just enjoy drama. They enjoy conflict. They enjoy action. In those ways, and I'm not one of those people. So, yeah, those are the things that I do not ever want to do. I do not ever want to live where the action is. I don't ever want to, let's see, I think I probably hit it, and if I do something like this similar in the future, I think I'll try to make it a little bit more organized. But yeah, that is going to pretty much do it here for my number 35 video voiceover. And until next time, take care.